Welcome in, everybody, to Fantasy Pros. This is Leading Off, brought to you by BetMGM, the king of sports books. It's me, Joey P. Joe Pizzapia. That is Mike Mayer. And, of course, it's you, the Peanuts and the Cracker Jacks, watching on our YouTube channel at Fantasy Pros MLB and listening to the podcast wherever you get your pods. And today we're going to recap the stat heroes and the stat zeros. We're going to talk about a draft pick that was very high not that long ago in the draft. It looks like we might be pitching in independent league baseball. We shall see. Chris Bassett's complaining about baseballs. A lot to unpack today. And yes, I'm still stone cold when it comes to home run calls. Mike Mayer, welcome to the show. It's good to have you back, my friend.
It's great to be here. We've talked a little bit before the show and in the comments and everything. I've been under the weather for a little while, but I'm one of Joe's tough guys, so I'm going to power through. And we'll see how often I have to use the mute button to cough throughout the show.
Well, I don't know. The over-under's at 2.5, so we'll see at BetMGM if they've got that. And if you want to bet on that, use that promo code Leading Off. That's where you can. All right, let's kick things off here right at the top with our headlines. And we're going to start here with some good news. We got good news for the headlines, which is a nice thing for a change. Sometimes we start with the negative, but Willy Adames, 4 for 5, 2 home runs, 7 ribbies yesterday. Mayor, this is one of the 3 guys I was trying to choose between. Did not pick Willy Adames. I'm mad. Mike Trout blasts a 2-run homer. He is on fire to start the year. Patrick Sandoval pitched in that game 9 Ks over 7 scoreless innings, pardon me. Wilmer Flores continues to be hot 3-run homer for him in the middle of that Giants order. And Carlos Rodon for the Giants strikes out 9 in a win over the A's. Carlos Rodon continues to make his pitch for Cy Young. It feels like right now, if you were smart, you would at least throw a little sprinkle, as they will, maybe on the Carlos Rodon odds for Cy Young, because I feel like it's worth it at this point. I understand the risk. I think we all do. But I think we also have to realize the reward at a certain point, too, as long as he continues to be as dominant as he's been. So what do you make personally so far of Rodon's continued greatness to start the year?
Well, I think not a lot has changed, right? Because like we saw this at the beginning of last season too. The question is going to be, and it's almost like the Byron Buxton question too. Like we've seen the ceiling, but how is it going to look throughout the rest of the summer? And last year we saw like his shoulder fell off in the summer, and then he came back and looked fine in the playoffs. But the early success isn't what we were worried about. We kind of all assumed he could get back to that, especially with a little bit of like sprinkling in some Giants magic on Carlos Rodon. But like, where's the longevity? That's, it's too early for the victory lap there, because we have to see how he holds up.
Okay, if you had to guess right now, what do you think his Cy Young odds are? I'm looking at FanDuel right now, what they are.
Plus
Come on.
1,800 plus 1,800.
Lower. You're not even close to how low
plus
they are right now.
$17.99.
Don't go all prices right on me. Lower. It's way lower. Plus 550. 550. It's 5-1 already for Carlos Rodon. I'm telling you, if you want in on this, then you might be right. But what's fascinating is right now you got Burns, Scherzer, Carlos Rodon, all 5.5-1 right now. That's your odds on FanDuel. I can look and see what they are. BetMGM and a couple other places, but I thought that was just fascinating just because I had FanDuel up right now. I clicked over on it. So I'm just terrified. If the Scherzer odds start to fall behind Rodon, that's when you start investing in Scherzer. Just want to throw that out there. That would be the time to do that for sure. Let's get to some more headlines. Let's talk about Anthony Rizzo, first career 3 home run game. So Anthony Rizzo, that left-handed bat that the Yankees so desperately need. It would have been nice if Giancarlo Stanton had a home run. I would have appreciated that. Eric Hosmer homers and reaches base 4 times for the Reds, and George Springer, congratulations, hits his 200th home run, a 2-run shot in the 9th. So what do you make of Eric Hosmer, another guy here, Mayor, that's gotten off to a relatively good start? Hosmer, once upon a time, was supposed to, I feel like, be more of the perennial all-star. I feel like Hosmer's a nice player, but he's gotten off to a really good start this year. Do you take anything away from the hot April, or do you think this is just a good Hosmer month, and then he falls back to kind of being that barely above league average type hitter the rest of the season?
The latter. This is just a hot Hosmer month, and I'm not really interested. I do have some thoughts on Anthony Rizzo's 3 home runs, though.
Oh, well, please share. I'm with bated breath waiting.
So I like Eric Hosmer. I like Anthony Rizzo, but like I could not be more unimpressed with those 3 home runs last night. Byron Buxton hit a home run like 500 feet, like a walk-off home run 500 feet the other day. I don't know that Rizzo's 3 home runs combined went 500 feet last night in that joke of a ballpark that just like popped up and like land. Like that one, Yankee Stadium is such a, there's three biggest jokes in baseball right now is Angel Hernandez, whatever they're doing with the baseballs, and then Yankee Stadium. That right field porch in Yankee Stadium is so infuriating because even down the line, it says it's 314 feet. I don't even know that it's 314 feet. I think it's like 275 feet down.
All right. I see here we got a nice note from the Night King. He says, I just want to sit at my kids' baseball games and place MLB wagers. And the Night King right now is doing pretty well. He was leading at the top of the home run board going into last night. But I don't know who had Rizzo. We'll find out later in the show. A couple people, I think, did. Some injury notes to get to. Mondesi left with a knee. He is out today, but they are, I guess, encouraged is the word that they're using. So it's not a surprise that he's not in the lineup. He's got some knee discomfort. We'll see how things go with him. And then also Philadelphia's Bryce Harper, was trying to play catch. He's having some problem with the elbow. It doesn't hurt to hit. He's hitting just fine. He's hitting the ball everywhere. It's not great, but he did have a pretty good hit. I mean, I watched him taking that back yesterday. It looked great, but it seems to be over the top where he's having trouble throwing the ball. So I guess, we'll keep an eye on that, but it's something to certainly keep an eye on and be aware of, because this is the beauty of the DH in the National League is, hey, yes, Harper's still in the lineup. You don't miss him. Hooray for the designated hitter. See?
Yeah. All right. And that's the story there, right? Because if they didn't have the DH, he's probably not in the lineup right now.
You're right. You're 100% right. So it's why, again, another good reason why the DH in the National League is a good thing. Let's talk about this. Can we talk about Chris Bassett and his thoughts after the game of why so many players are getting hit in the head? He said, MLB, and I'm quoting Chris Bassett now, MLB has a very big problem with the baseballs. They're bad. Everyone knows it. They don't care. So Chris Bassett does not care about your feelings. Major League Baseball, Rob Manfred. Chris Bassett doesn't care. So obviously the guys and the pitchers know. The pitchers know more than anybody what the baseballs are every year. So what do you think you're going to take out of this in terms of fantasy, Mayor? Because, from a fantasy perspective, we've seen, a lot of guys getting hit. Getting hit leads to injuries potentially. It's a little dangerous situation. Also, lack of control leads to some guys who don't have a good feel for the baseball right now. We're struggling a little bit. We see Garrett Cole, who's got the stuff back on his jersey now, on his pants, and he's wiping his hands on his pants to get better control, and seems to be working. So I don't know. This is a tough situation. Why do the balls change every year? It seems like, Mayor. That doesn't make any sense to me.
That's the great question. And like the fact that Major League Baseball has just like not only like failed to address it, but has just like pretended that the issue doesn't exist. Like they went so far as to like buy the company that was making the baseballs just to like keep the secret. They're like, we're not changing the baseballs. And like, oh, maybe they changed a little bit by accident. And then like, they're super balls. And like this year they're deadened and they're slick. And like all these pitchers are getting blisters and everyone's having trouble with control. Like Chris Bassett's right. This is a joke.
Yeah, it's the lack of acknowledgement, which is really stunning at the end of the day. Like that's the whole thing. It's the lack of acknowledgement. You're right. Where, not only do they not say anything about it when they're pressed directly, they're like, what baseballs? What are you talking? We use baseballs to play this game. I have no idea what's going on there, but someone's going to get hurt, and I hope it doesn't come to that, but obviously, we've seen a lot of guys getting plunked already, and I understand that it's still early and guys are still finding their control and all these other things, but at the same time, I think what Bassett's saying needs to be listened to, and Major League Baseball needs to figure this out. I know they're using the humidors and other things, so I don't know if that's affecting the ball, but man, look, live baseballs are good for baseball. Please, can we have home runs? Can we have baseballs that the pitchers feel good about and that the hitters feel good about? I don't think it's too much to ask for.
Just be transparent.
Yeah, right. Just be transparent. All right. This is a fun little note. So Kumar Rocker, remember him? Prospect, big time prospect. The Mets, of course, drafted him just last year, right? It was last year's draft, I believe. He decided that or I should say, the medicals decided that the Mets really didn't want any part of him, and then the whole went back and forth. And now he is going to play in the independent league, apparently, over the next couple of weeks. So if you're in a deep dynasty league, do you add Kumar Rocker? Because chances are in platforms like Fantrax, he's available. Would you kind of stash him and see if he gets signed here this year?
Yeah, absolutely. Depending on like the size of your roster. I think in a lot of dynasty leagues that you might be like prevented from picking him up because he, It's tricky because like I know in like my dynasty leagues you can't pick up rookies before the draft, but like he technically was drafted last year, so
I
I
was gonna
don't.
say he was
Yeah,
draft. That's an interesting little wrinkle because Rocker
yeah,
was drafted last year by the Mets, did not sign. So technically he can't go back into the draft. Technically he's a free agent. So he should be a free agent in your dynasty leagues by that logic, which I know everybody wants to throw the logic at. I think it's a sneaky thing. Now keep this in mind. He never had surgery for the elbow that was troublesome. So it's a risk, but if you can, might be an interesting stash. Just saying. Let's get to some stat heroes from yesterday. Logan Gilbert, my dude, 7 Ks yesterday, 5 2/3 win over the Rays. His ERA is 0.40 right now. That's stunning, and he's undefeated 3-0. We mentioned Sandoval's 9 Ks against the Guardians. Carlos Rodon, 9 Ks in 6 innings. Chris Bassett was tremendous. What an addition he's been for that Met
despite the
rotation.
balls.
Despite the balls, I don't know if I'm Chris Bassett, maybe I keep my mouth shut. I mean,
Yeah.
no earned runs, 6 Ks. His ERA is what, like 2 something right now? It's crazy. Chris Paddock had a good start. No decisions, 6 Ks, 1 walk, 5 2/3. We've been waiting for Paddock for a long time. I know he's on a lot of waiver wires. Is he somebody you would pick up?
No.
Okay, why?
Because he's not
Too
good.
much of a bad track record? Oh,
well, he's not good. I just don't think. I think
how
he's
much
one
do
of
you
those
put
players.
into change of scenery, Mayor? Or maybe new voice in his head. Maybe he could be. He was good once upon a time. Let's not pretend like he's never had success at major league level because he has.
He has. I think he's always been a little bit overrated, and I don't think that his ceiling, like potential ceiling, is worth the risk for him. I think there's better players with more, like strikeout upside.
All right. Also, Wonky Penguin says that she wrote an update about Kumar Rocker today, which is the first time she learned that he is not John Rocker's kid. So there you
No,
go.
that was a
Wonky
fun
Penguin
time in baseball.
bringing the
The
dad
John
joke.
Rocker era was a really fun time in baseball.
Oh my God. Talk about batteries being thrown and stuff. That lunatic. What a crazy guy that was. Max Fried, 4 Ks in a win over the Cubs, 6 innings for him. Daniel Lynch, 7 Ks in a win over the White Sox. 11 shutout innings over the last 2 starts, but allowing 6 earned runs his first start. So Daniel Lynch might be another one of these guys floating around the waiver wire with the ERA is down to 3.38 already. But that's a guy you might want to pick up if you need some helping, some your pitching staff potentially. Kevin Gossman, 9 Ks, 6 innings for him. Josiah Gray, 10 Ks and a huge performance there for him. 10 Ks in just 5 2/3 for the Marlins. Sandy Alcantara, 5 Ks, 3 walks. Not the best start for him. You don't like to see the walks, but still his ERA sits at 1.78. And Zach Eflin got OW over the Rockies. Let's talk about Josiah Gray, Mayor. Another one of these young pitchers. He was the guy who was acquired in that trade with the Dodgers last year. I have no shares of Gray. Do you have any investments in him? And how long do you think he can keep this up? Because, the 4 ERA for a rookie is not a terrible number. It's a little inflated typically because they tend not to go 6-7 innings. So that's the only trick with this. I feel like it's better in points leagues than it is in Roto because of that tempered innings limit. It's always going to inflate artificially the whip in ERA.
Yeah, I have a ton of shares. I have him in keeper and multiple dynasty leagues. And you mentioned like Daniel Lynch and then Josiah Gray. I'm way more in on Josiah Gray than Daniel Lynch in both keeper and redraft for this year. And the innings are going to be a little bit of a concern, but I think he's going to be fine innings wise. I forget how many he threw last year, but he was up at the end of last year too. And I had shares then. And I mean, like you said, he was in the Trey Turner deal. Like he's, he was like a top prospect in a really good Dodgers farm system.
Right.
And, he's not a nobody. He's a highly touted guy. And, you're seeing the potential there. And I think this is the beginning of his potential. You're seeing the big strikeout numbers. You're seeing some of the up and down kind of like earned run things. But like I'm way in on Josiah Gray and I am pretty out on Daniel Lynch.
Okay, there you go. Out on Lynch, in on Gray. Mike Mayer has spoken, ladies and gentlemen. Here's some stat hero hitters besides Rizzo. Joey Gallo hit a home run, first of the season. Congratulations. Again, everybody hit home runs for the Yankees, except my guy who I picked. Gross. 2 for 4. Anthony Rendon, double, 2 doubles for him. Mike Trout, 2 for 3 with a bomb. Kyle Tucker, home run, 3 RBI. No kidding.
Getting hot.
Duh. Getting real hot. Notice that? God, people lose their mind for no reason. Tommy Edman 0 for 2, but did have 2 steals. Max Kepler with a dinger. Javier Baez with a dinger. Also, Andrew Benintendi 2 for 5. Leading the league in hitting, 389. Andrew Benintendi, look at that.
And
also, George. Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
So he's leading the American League in hitting. Do you know who's leading the league overall in hitting?
Is it Jazz Chisholm? He's the answer for everything right now, I feel like.
It is not, but he's another person on this sheet in the hitters section.
Oh, my goodness. Who is it, Mike Mayer? You tease?
Well, I teased it right beneath him in the list. Eric Hosmer. Eric Hosmer is leading Major League Baseball in batting average. He's hitting 390.
Eric Hosmer hitting 390, like 389 to 390. Wow. Talk about, and I had to pick up Eric Hosmer because I had an injury in week 1. I was like, well, I guess I got to kick up Eric Hosmer. He's the only guy out there that's even got a starting job. So I've been pleased, but
I didn't want to spoil that stat when you asked me about Hosmer earlier. So I pivoted quickly to Rizzo.
It's going to spoil eventually anyway. It's Eric Hosmer. It's just what happens. And, you know, he's a puzzling case because I don't know why it spoils. Like, I remember watching him as a young kid coming up with the Royals and thinking, yeah, this guy could, you know, be a perennial all-star type of player. And he's just never maintained a steady level of excellence. There's been peaks and valleys of excellence, but never a steady level, which is just odd. And I don't want to blame it on ballpark factor.
He never really found that power stroke. Maybe he could just go to Yankee Stadium and he wouldn't even need to find it. It would just be there.
That's where we all need to go, is Yankee Stadium, to find that. All right, here's your stat zeros. Herman Marquez, 7 runs, given up, 4 earned. Brandon Woodruff, 4 innings, 4 earned, not good. San Martin, who's got talk about like a junky delivery kind of guy. That guy is 2 Ks. It's like he have 9 earned runs. It's like watching, I don't know, like a semi-professional guy pitch. I don't know how this guy's in the big leagues. Jordan Lyles finally happened. 6 earned runs. There's the Jordan Lyles we all knew would rear his ugly head. I don't know if he's ugly. He's probably a good like I said. Dalton Jeffries, 5 earned runs. Baltimore rotation was not going to lead the league in ERA forever. It was undeniable. Here's some hitters though. Matt Chapman over 5, 3 Ks. The Franimal Golden Sombrero 0 for 4 with the 4 Ks hitting $161. Go by Franmil Reyes everywhere. It's just a matter of time. Lindor 0 for 5, big deal. He's been red hot. Connor Joe finally got an 0 for after being red hot too. Carlos Correa, cold start for him, 0 for 4, 3 Ks, batting $179. I don't want to buy Correa. Here's why. New city, big contract. I tend to stay away from those guys in year 1. What are your thoughts on Correa? Is he somebody you would go after an attack on principle of the slow start, or stay away from because of the track record we've seen with these guys in new places, signing big deals, struggling typically in year 1?
Doesn't he have an opt-out? I think he can opt out and like go right.
I think he's going to opt out in the middle of this show. He's allowed to opt out of his contract. It's crazy. Some kind of crazy opt-out. Is it 1 year or 2? I think
it might be 1 year, but
Craziness.
I'm not sure. I have to.
Well, he better get. I'll tell you what. If it's 1 year opt-out, I'll buy him low. If it's 2 years, I'll wait. That's my answer. What's yours?
Yeah, I mean the cop-out answer is like, what's the price? I'm interested because if someone's really given up, that I'm interested, but like I'm not really necessarily buying, because he's another guy that has like those injury concerns too. So even if you could buy low, he can get hot and then get hurt again. And then what did you buy?
This is true. What did you buy? Also, offense being down in general, great notes here from Mike Mayer. 47 different players went 0 for 4 or 0 for 5 last night. 47. Oh, my kingdom for Tony Gwynn and Wade Boggs. I just want more contact. Stephen Kwan, I just want more contact. I want guys to. Can't you change your approach with 2 strikes? It's bad for your team. It's bad for you as an individual. Like, I'm sorry. It's not good for baseball. And then 18 of those guys went 0 for 4 with 2 or more Ks. That's a tremendous stat. Where'd you rip that off from, Mayor? Because you didn't do that research.
I watched every game. And I counted them myself. No, I got it from Baseball Reference.
Okay. Well done. Good job there. All right.
I didn't count them on Baseball Reference, though. I didn't just like plug it in.
Sure you did. I won't tell anybody. Complete ripoff right here, Mike Mayer. Stealing other people's work. Where's the cliff? What do they call that at the bottom where you have to reference? What's that called? You're a publishing guy. What do they call that?
The citations?
No. Citations. Thank you very much. Good. See? You're smart. I don't care what Welsh says. Let's go to the home run board and check out who's leading it up. It's the Night King of the North, continuing to wreak havoc on all of Westeros. He is up at the top at 8. So no change there. Now, did anybody have Rizzo yesterday? That is the question. So looking at it, doesn't look like it, right?
We lost our overlays.
No. That's me. Boop.
Oh, we're back.
Oh, we're back. That's my fault.
You did get my sweatshirt in the shot for a second there. My new fantasy.
Yeah. What are you, property of what? I don't know.
Fantasy Pros.
Oh, okay. That's a nice one. I
Even
don't
though I
have
feel
that
like I
one.
work for Betting Pros exclusively right now. No one
That could be
had
accurate.
Rizzo, but Florin Sox also had Mike Trout along with me. So he's up to 5. I'm up to 4. I'm coming for the top.
All right, let's move gears here and talk about the prop bets of the night. And of course, we always talk about the prop bets because BetMGM is a sponsor of the show, the king of sports books. Special offer for all you new users: bet $10, win 200 when you bet on any game, regardless of the outcome. All you gotta do is just bet $10 and you get 200 you can win if you sign up today. You download the BetMGM app or go to betmgm.com, enter that promo code leading off, one word, leading off. Do it today. Much better day for props than the last couple days. You got Trout at the top over here on DK specifically. And again, we're using our prop bet cheat sheet from bettingpros.com, which you can check out. Just go to the MLB section there and drop down. You'll see the prop bets right there, prop bet cheat sheet. You can click. Mike Trout, 1.5 on DK for total bases. He's projected over 3. That's a smash for me. Jerickson Profar has been very quietly good. If he's in the lineup today, 0.5 on DK. Happen to be a lot of DK ones today, but again, that's a good one on total bases. Schwarber's total bases at 0.5 on DK. Good matchup for him. Then you got a couple other ones here I like. Sal Perez, 0.5 on DK. Wander Franco, 1.5, but still against Seattle, I think he can do it. He's projected at 2.8, and you're getting good money on this. Minus 105 on the Wander Franco one. I love that. Then you got even money on my boy Vlad at 1.5. Yeah, it's a high number. So what? It's against the Red Sox. Vladdy's projected at 2.8, 1.5, even money. Let's go. Mayor, who you got for the Betting Pros props you like tonight?
So I was playing around with the Betting Pros prop sheet this morning, and I've been enjoying, like, you can click on the filter and find like the better odds. And so I just like removed the negative odds. I was like, give me some positive, some plus odds there. And so I found Ohtani over 6.5 strikeouts for plus 110, which I like. Now I don't know how I highlighted them in the sheet here. It just like it has this like aura around it. And then of course Ryan Mountcastle over half an RBI against lefty Jordan Montgomery in that joke of the stadium, plus 210. Let's do it.
Yeah, the joke of a stadium that Giancarlo Stanton can't hit a home run off of. This is a great question.
You have to hit the ball for it to go out. That's the one catch. So you have to make contact for it to go out of the stadium.
It's a good caveat. You ain't lying. What would Joe's name be in Game of Thrones? I like this. I put this out to all the Peanuts and Cracker Jacks or on Twitter at Joe Pisapia 17. Everybody knows I've fought with swords for 20 years of my life, and I consider myself quite a sword craftsman. But I need a good.
I know that.
Well, you know that. I think most people know that by now, but especially after I told that getting stabbed story last week on the show. So what would my Game of Thrones name be? I'd love to hear with the Peanuts and Cracker Jacks. If you have the best one here live, we'll get a little publicity. I'll put it up here for everybody.
What's the criteria there? Like an existing character, or just like Joe?
No. It's like Joe of the something, like
you would be. I think you would be Broken Finger.
Broken Finger. But it never broke. It would be Mallet Finger.
Mallet Finger. There you go.
Me and Russell Wilson. That's how I roll. But yeah, if you got a good one, I want to know what are the actual Joe Pisapia Game of Thrones names. Let's get to the DFS slate here. Lots of choices here today for you. You got Jordan Montgomery on DK just 7.5, Joe Ryan at 9.6, Christian Javier making a start. Remember last week when I told everybody pick up Christian Javier if he's floating around the waiver wire because Odorizzi's not long for this world? Well, I hope you did. You got Paul Blackburn also 8.8. I like Blackburn at 8.8. I love Javier, but not tonight because he's not going to pitch very long. But Joe Ryan at 9.6, good investment. Charlie Morton at 8.2 is a steal on DK. Morton and Montgomery would be my pairing, very cost effective. On FanDuel, where you get one shot at the pitcher, Montgomery at 7.8, nice investment. But at 7.7, I can have Charlie Morton. I think maybe you just do the same lineup and just switch each pitcher out. Get one Montgomery, one Morton, play that. Joe Ryan's worth the investment as well. Ohtani's up to 8.2 as well. He's pretty expensive there. But again, you can make that investment. The stacks tonight, the Yankees, the Angels, Houston, at the ATL, and Toronto. Those are the ones I like tonight. And here's your lineup builders. Trevor Larnach on DK 2.4. Michael Brantley at 3.7. Marcelo Ozuna continues to be underpriced on DK, 3.5. He's underpriced on FanDuel as well. He's just 3K. Tapia at 3.2 on DK, and Sanchez for the Marlins at 3.6. On FanDuel, you got Ozuna, as I mentioned. Michael Brantley there is cheap too, 2.7. Get Brantley in your lineup. Corey Seager's is 2.8. And Kyle Tucker, 2.7. Get that Houston stack tonight and get one of those pitchers I talked about. You should be pretty good. Mayor, any DFS notes you'd like to share with the boys and girls today?
Yeah, so I like a lot of what you listed. Cole Calhoun is dirt cheap against Javier, and he's 4 for 5 with 2 home runs in his career against Christian Javier. No offense to your boy there. Trey Mancini again against Jordan Montgomery. He has good numbers against him. Like you said, Charlie Morton, I'm definitely hammering him against the Cubs. That price is just too low for him on both sites. Paul Blackburn, who I think you might like. The only thing is he actually stinks.
No,
he's terrible.
No, he's
Paul
good
Blackburn
for now.
Stinks. So I'm stacking Jock Peterson and Brandon Belt in a stack attack against Paul Blackburn. And for like GPP plays, I'm going with Sam Long on the other side of that matchup.
Hold on. I'm going to defend the honor of Blackburn. I know he's pitching well above what he did in the minor leagues. I get that. However, stinks is harsh.
He's better than me. He's better than me at baseball.
Well, everyone's better than you. That's easy to say. But I mean, right now, with what he's done so far, it's hard not to at least, I don't know. I mean, give the guy some credit at the very least. Here, I'm going to pull up the Blackburn stats on the year. Credit. 3 games, 15 innings, a 1.8 ERA, 14 Ks, 0.8 WHIP, 1.80 ERA. I don't understand. Where's the stink in that? I don't smell
Small sample size. That's where the stink is. He's not good. Look at his ERA last year, 5.87 in the minors. Stinks.
All right. So I guess
you're a
sell high.
Last year, 38 innings, 26 strikeouts. Get out of here. Come on.
No, you're right. The strikeout number, and I mentioned this before, I think on the waiver wire video last week that I did, which again, if you subscribe to FantasyPros MLB, you know when those videos drop. So every week I'm doing a waiver wire ad video. But although the strikeout numbers were certainly lower K per 9 in the minor leagues, sometimes guys get a different pitch mix. Sometimes, like I said, weird things happen in baseball. I agree with you. I'm not buying into it.
Too? It's not like he's a young guy. Isn't he old?
So what? Us old guys can get it done.
28.
By the way,
he's 28 and a half.
28 and a half. Yeah, 28's not old for a pitcher, especially for.
Speaking of, how old is Franmil Reyes, if you had to guess?
31.
No, he's like 27.
He's only 27. He's
just
because he looks older. I think that's what he's been around a while.
So this morning, I was like, "There's no way he's under 30 years old."
All right, here's JP might have the winner here. The Bald King. Perhaps that's not bad.
We can do better.
That's okay. I think we can do better. Come on. What's my Game of Thrones name? Let's go. Peanuts and Cracker Jacks. You're so creative all the time. This is your opportunity. You could take a shot at me if it's funny, or give me a really cool name. One of the two. I mean, it's or Joe instead of Joe of the Blackwater, Joe of the Black Book, perhaps.
There you go. That's a good one. Joe of the Black Book.
Did
you see that you have an emoji in Discord now?
I have an emoji? What is it? Is it just me wearing the crown?
It's just like a cropped version of your head.
And what's my expression? More to the point.
I don't know. It's a screenshot from the show. I think it's a normal emoji. I don't know. Turf Durgeson made it.
I didn't know we could make emojis until recently. I just learned this.
Me either. He made a whole bunch of them. He made like an Otani, an Altuve, a Vlad, and a Joe.
All right, let's get to our home run calls of the night. Don't listen to me. I'm going with Matt Olson tonight. It's a good matchup for him. He should go yard. There's no other rhyme or reason. Matt Olson, please. I'm begging you, Matt Olson, please hit a home run for me tonight. I can't go into May with one, and we're getting awfully close to May. Please. You know what? Let's hit 2, Matt Olson. You give me 2. Tomorrow, the whole show is a love letter to Matt Olson. Mike Mayer, where are you going tonight for your home run?
Well, real quick, I did want to acknowledge a couple good names for you in the chat. Mr. Good OK has Varasapia, which is pretty good.
That's
and
all
Lawnmower
right.
Man 4.4 had Lord Pia of the Black Book, which is not bad either.
Lord Pia of the that's all right. We had to do that thing once where it was what's your Star Wars name? You ever do that where you take like the first few letters of your last name and something else of your mother's maiden name, some crazy nonsense like that. Mine totally, by the way, when I did that, sounded like a Star Wars name. It was Piss Joe Labro, which sounds exactly like can't use like, whoa, look, there's Han Solo and Piss Joe Labro there and all these, like, totally sounds like a
I
Star
always
Wars.
hated those games because my first and last initial is the same. So it's like, oh, like flip this around and see what happens. Like, well, mine's the same. Let's keep moving.
You're just Meemaw.
Yeah.
Sounds like your grandma.
The only good thing is
All
if you
right.
flip mine around, I'm Ekam Reham, which is pretty good.
Stop stalling and make a home
All
run
right, I'm
call.
going the mirror of your pick. I was trying to decide who to go with this morning. I saw you went Matt Olson. I looked at the Dodgers game, wind blowing out potentially. I'm going to go Freddie Freeman to your Matt Olson.
All right, there you go. Once again, trolling me as always, this time doing it live on the show. And once again,
right.
for everybody, make your home run calls in our Discord, fantasypros.com/chat. You just join for free. But if you want to make home run calls, you got to be a premium member of Fantasy Pros. Mike Mayer, that's like nothing, right? I mean, it doesn't cost a lot to do. And if you really are, trying to be competitive in fantasy, we have a lot we can offer you here with our tools at Fantasy Pros. So go check them out at fantasypros.com and then go sign up for our Discord at fantasypros.com/chat. Before I do my final thought, I just want to dedicate today's show to my good friend and neighbor who lost his battle with cancer this past weekend, my friend Chris File. I'm sick and tired of losing friends. Chris was a wonderful guy and a Met fan. He loved the Mets and simultaneously hated the Mets, which is how you know he was a real Met fan. So I hope they win this year for him more than anyone. That would be nice to see. So Chris, my thoughts are with you and your wonderful family. And I certainly hope that we get some Met W's in October. That would be a nice change of pace in your memory. Mike Mayer, any final thoughts you want to share here on the program today? Let's end on a lighter note.
Well, I'm not going to try and top your final thoughts, but I will say that how you described his fandom of the Mets is how I feel about the Red Sox. No one loves or hates the Red Sox more than me.
Well, you've gotten to see a lot more Red Sox championships in the last couple of years than I was 8 years old the last time the Mets won a championship. And stupid me, they won it in such a fashion. I was so optimistic. I was like, well, they can come back from anything. Of course, life's going to be great. No, not so much. Still waiting. Although I do think Scherzer, Bassett, I like what these guys have brought. Buck Showalter is a nice intensity. Mets are looking pretty good there. Thank you all, Peanuts and Cracker Jacks. I appreciate you all. So go watch baseball today. Hug your kids. Have a good day. Go sit while they're watching, while you're watching them play ball, and go make your wagers like the Night King and enjoy all the great content we have here at Fantasy Pros. And make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel at Fantasy Pros MLB. That'll do it for us. But the story of the game goes on. For Mike Mayer, I'm Joey P. We will see you next time, kids.